Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be making brisket beans, and Dorkfish Grandpa has smoked this brisket for how long?
For about 15 hours.
About 15 hours, and he's going to be slicing it up, and we'll be showing it off in just a moment. This is the portion of the fat and the smoke that's rendered from the brisket. You want to hold on to this portion of the brisket. Most people toss this. I usually don't. I save it and I freeze it. That way you can portion it out or put it in an ice cube tray, and that way you can divide it up. I use it in beans to cook any type of beans or any type of green vegetable. You can drop this in and it goes in like a stock. So this is a portion of it that you do want to hold on to, and it'll give it that nice smoky flavor to meats. And even if you're using a cheaper beef when you're cooking it, you can add this brisket fat to it, and it'll bump up the flavor, and it'll render a better tasting piece of meat. Now that it's all sliced up, he's going to be placing it back into the juice so it can keep the moisture, and it'll keep the meat nice and juicy. You can see that it is juicy. It's smoked for quite a bit of a time, about 15 hours I believe he said. So we're going to place this portion in. We won't take you through the whole process, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. So I've added my dry beans to the water, and I'm gonna let these cook off just a little bit, and then I'll drain these. I'll come back in with my seasoning, and then I'll start to add in a brisket. And so stay with me. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm gonna be doing the beans. I added my dry beans to the water, and I'm gonna let these cook off just a little bit. Then I'm gonna come back and drain this off, and then I'm gonna come back with my seasonings and my meat. Okay guys, welcome back to the Dorkfish Brothers. I'm Dorkfish Nana, and I have my beans on. They're cooking, and I'll be making the brisket beans shortly. I like to boil my beans. I use the hard beans, dry beans I should say, and I boil those off, and then I pour the water off, and then I start with new water, and then I add in my seasoning. And then after I add in the seasoning, I will add in my brisket. So I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I've drained off the water from the beans and added fresh water. And what I'm going to do now is add my combination of seasoning. I use some chili powder, garlic, onion, my basics. And I use cilantro leaves, dried. I use dried onion. And basically salt, pepper, any seasonings that you like, you can put into your beans. Like I said, when you're cooking, whatever you like, it's gonna be good because you already like it. So you can incorporate all those things into your beans or your meals that you're making. So I added my seasoning. I'm gonna let this cook off a little bit. And I'll be coming back in with my use sofrito for everything. So I'm gonna be coming back in with my sofrito and then my brisket. And so then I'll let that all cook off a little bit. Well, my beans are a little bit softer now. I didn't show it to you, but they've kind of gotten a little softer there, where they've swollen basically. And I'll let these cook off, grab all the flavor, and absorb all of the flavor, and then let it soften up a little bit, and then incorporate those other items. Thanks for staying with me. Okay, you guys, I've let things cook off just a little bit. I'm gonna go in and add my sofrito. This is a blend of cilantro, bell pepper, and onion. And I also add olives into mine because I like that flavor just as I would with olive oil. So I'm gonna add that into my beans. They've been cooking for a little bit now. And then I'm gonna come back in with my brisket. And it's smoked. My husband smoked it for about 15 hours. And it's gonna break up into little shreds. I do have some fatty parts in here because there's no oil in the beans. So it gives it a nice flavor as well. So I just drop whole pieces in, and it will start to separate and divide itself into the beans. And I also have some chili powder in here. Gives a nice flavor, and because my family likes spicy, we have some cayenne also in my spices. And so any spices that you do like, you can incorporate into the beans. So I'm gonna let this cook off just a little bit, and when they're done, I'll come back and plate it up and let you see how it is. I also spoke to you a little bit earlier about adding the broth from the meats when it was smoked, so it's going to give the beans a little bit of a smoky flavor, and so I do incorporate some of that in as well. I had left that portion out, and so it smells really good. So I like to add that all in. It's all coming together quite nicely. I can give you a peek here, and it's starting to look really good. This is going to thicken up. My mother, as she would say in the South, we would let it thicken up until it actually made its own base. And so it'll thicken up with the beans naturally, and then we'll be able to serve. Thank you. Okay, you guys, I have a nice boil going on my beans. I'm a pretty swift cook. If you're going to cook and you let it get to this temperature and boil, you want to always stay in the kitchen with your pots. My mother always told us that you cannot cook standing in another room. so you always stay near your food. So I'm kind of a quick cook. For me, I can stay around this and keep it from burning, keep my eyes on it. If you don't like being in the kitchen, you want to really turn this down to low and take a little bit longer, but it'll be okay. And let it cook off. See you in a bit. Okay guys, we're back. I just put some into a bowl so you can get an idea of how the brisket and the beans look. Lots of flavor in there, and I think the kids are really going to enjoy it. I know my husband will. And the other thing I wanted to say is I did a pork roast as well. Brisket is great with the beans. I also did a Spanish style roast pork. To me, it's the authentic pork and beans. You can use roast pork with your beans, and if you like the sweetness that we've been taught to like that comes in the can, you can add in a tomato sauce with brown sugar, and that'll give you the sweetness if that's what's really good to you. But also pork and beans, you could also make the same way that we made the the brisket and beans. And so I'll show you a little clip of the roast that we did there. And so this is the final product. It's really good. Didn't take me long, of course, because I cook quick. You saw that. And so we hope you enjoy cooking along with us. And we shall see you on the next video. Thank you.